Our next guest is Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of Robert Report. I'm your humble host, Robert Bob TV Brown, and I want to start off with a little housekeeping today and from this day forward. This time of year can be kind of volatile. People tensions are up. You got blue MAGA versus red MAGA. And then you may have some black MAGAs out there. What do you mean by that? Some people that are so extreme in their position that they will pretty much hurt somebody mentally, physically, and emotionally just to get their point across. I am not going to be that way. My goal is to educate people and, like my mentors say, sprinkle little facts and get out of there. That's it. That's it. I want this platform to be a respected platform, a platform where we can have a respected debate, where we can have a respective dialogue. You're gonna get some people that may come on here that's brand new and don't understand that this platform that I have with Bob TV is not just a political platform, but it is a social platform. And in some cases, we try to deal with personal development also. We want to see all people develop and grow to be all that God called them to be. And we do understand that there's different segments of society, and every segment ain't not going to be the same, and every segment is not going to be one accord. And I know we can say we all are Americans. Yes, we are, but there are some systemic differences through from each American, and from each neighborhood, and from each sector. So saying that, you're going to get some people on this platform that's visiting, checking it out for the first time. If they say something that you don't agree with, you can do a lively debate, but don't be vicious. Don't be hard. You know, my moderator Karen will check you if you curse people out, and she will throw you off the chat. I'm not able to see anybody on the chat with the salt that where that I use. Why I'm not up here? Give me a moment. Sitting up here looking at a picture of Ice Cube and Roland Martin. Give me a second. There we go. There we go. The grades are coming in, baby. The grades are coming in. So we want to have a lively spirit debate, but we want to respect each other as individuals. If you get somebody that's a Trump supporter and blue MAGA, you will never win them over to your side by beating them down and wearing them out. You can have a respected dialogue. They can say whatever they want to say up here, as long as they don't get show their prejudice. Not saying all Donald Trump supporters are prejudiced, but as long as they don't, I don't deal with racists. And when I mean racist, that means you're attacking a race of people. Like for an example, when it comes to ADOS and we tell immigrants that we don't expect you to fight this fight with us because this was before you came to the country. See, that's a way you can talk to them instead of just jumping on them. We don't expect you to fight this fight. We would love for you to fight this fight, but this is something that we have to deal with because our ancestors. I come from a line of ancestors that had to deal with a whole bunch of hell before you guys came. But yet now you're here and you've been here, and a lot of them came in the '60s because of that the last Immigration Act that Johnson passed that allowed that opened up the doors for immigrants to come from all over the world. We do understand that immigrants here, especially black immigrants, went through what we went through through Jim Crow. So you got to let them know there is another fight that we can fight together, and that's the fight through Jim Crow. Through the Jim Crow era, racism, bigotry, robbery, and debauchery and everything happened not just to me as a what we call American descendants of slaves, or you can call it ADOS or foundational black or black American slave, whatever you want to call it. We got a lineage. Our lineage is tied to the slave trade. We do understand, and we just got to understand that right now we are fighting this fight with the government. You can join us in this fight, but there is a fight that we're going to fight with you on that end when it comes to Jim Crow. And even those who dealt with mass incarceration in the new Jim Crow and the private prison system, and how blacks were disproportionately arrested thanks to the crime bill from Joe Biden and got locked up like hotcakes. And thanks to Kamala Harris, who locked people up like hotcakes in California when she was district attorney and attorney general. A lot of people don't know about that, but they need to educate themselves that she mastered the Joe Biden crime bill and locked blacks up for some of the dumbest reasons, try to come up with reasons to lock black women up, including women who had disabled children who oftentimes couldn't go to school. They had to go to the doctor and all that, and you send the police and the media to her house to lock her up for violating truancy policies when the child had sickle cell and needed to go to the doctor. So there's a lot of stuff, and then you got telling black men and women in prison that in order for you to shave off some of your times, I need you to fight these forest fires out there in the rich, wealthy hills of California to save these people home, and I may shave some time off your sentence. And even then, did whatever she can to keep people in jail. And even kept the innocent man in jail beyond his time. But they don't talk about this in the news because they want you to see this portrait of this perfect politician and who couldn't even make it through the primaries if it wasn't for Joe Biden picking her as VP, because people find out her record, who she don't apologize for it. Just like Joe Biden don't apologize for the crime bill. And he blamed everybody else for its failing and not himself, the man who wrote it. So my thing is, I'm always going to be fair and balanced. Trump is trash. Everything about Trump is trash. Yes, he did the first act, but what about the second? First step what about second step, third step, Trump? I mean, I give credit what credit is due no matter who you are, because I'm nonpartisan. I'm not beholden to parties. I'm not beholden to a news network, even though YouTube want to act like jerks and want to stop me from live streaming. Facebook probably do it next. Because I say what I want to say, and I'm going to always tell you the truth. And you know the motto of the Raw Report is when the truth will make you free, not set you free, make you free. You need to be made free to know who these guys really are. And when you go in the photo booth, when you go in the voting booth, which I'm not telling nobody not to vote. There's a whole bunch of reasons why you need to go and vote. But as for me, I'm not voting for neither bigot, red or blue. And Joe Biden has a history of bigotry, and Trump has a history of bigotry, and I'm not trying to keep or put any one of those people in power. And if you feel like you should, fine with you. But anything that happened, once they get in power, is not going to be on me, because I didn't lend my vote tally to get that person in office. So you know me, I'm going to deal with the voting shaming techniques and the voting lies that a vote for Biden is a vote for Trump, all that crap. If you don't vote for Biden, you're going to vote for Trump. You're voting for Trump. Some of the stupid things I ever heard in my life. Votes have to be tallied up. The only way a person can win an election is if a vote is tallied up. A person cannot win an election from a vote that has not been tallied. So if a person says screw both of you, and they have every right to do that, because it's up to your politicians to earn their vote. Repent. Do whatever you need to do to change what caused that person not to want to vote for you. Repent. Fix it. By any means necessary, you get that vote. Which brings me to the story of today. I'm going into part 2 of Ice Cube versus. Today we're going to talk about Roland Martin. Now, you know me, I've been getting in Roland behind all day, every day. Because he's one of those ones that's hired by the media, who's always trotted out by white media to be their Steven from the Django. You know what I mean with Steven from the Django? Who's that N-word on the nag? You gonna let him stay in the big house? Okay, I guess you're going to have to burn everything after you leave. That's Roland Martin. Roland Martin is upset because some people are people are waking up to the fact that our only allegiance should be to ourselves. We should not be aligned to a party. The moment you give your commitment, the moment you give your allegiance to a party, they have no reason to try to keep you because you've already let them know that I'm yours. I mean, even in a marriage relationship, you're going to do whatever you can to try to maintain that relationship. When you buy a house, you're going to do whatever you can to maintain that house. You're going to buy whatever you need to do to keep the house looking good, keep the pipe running, to keep the siding aligned, to keep the grass cut. You're going to buy a lawnmower. You're going to do whatever you can to make sure that value on that house looks good. And that's what needs to be done with the black community. And that's the black community in the whole. I'm not even talking about this one mission that ADOS has, Foundational Blacks have. That's just one mission. But the other mission benefit everybody. But people want to take time out to learn that. But yet you have some people that are open, and they may come out of this not knowing exactly what's going on. And it's up to you to educate people properly on how it goes down. Now, let's get into this. You better check yourself, right? Ice Cube had a song back in the day, I think it was the second album, where he said you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Roland Martin tries to check Ice Cube, and that is Roland Martin in the background too. And Ice Cube ended up checking Roland Martin. Let's take a look at this. Now, before we get into this, I want to thank those who are donating to the Super Chat. I prefer you to do it to the PayPal BOBTV NYC, but I do take cash out. Again, I do this because I love it. I would like to do this full time, but I know I have to continue to grow this audience. Right now I'm on Facebook, so it's like I'm starting at the beginning because I very rarely focus on the Facebook audience. But it looks like I'm forced to focus on the Facebook audience, whether I like it or not. So I'm going to have to build from scratch. And it's okay. YouTube is suppressing me. They're not letting my videos get anything for it. They're really brutalizing people who speak freely. Now, if I kiss Joe Biden's behind, YouTube will let it go. If I kiss Trump behind, YouTube will let it go. But when I start talking about both of them, they ain't going to have that. But it's okay. Because I'd rather go down to 100 and be my true self than be at 10,000 and trying to kiss YouTube behind. Now, if you don't find my videos, you can find me on BitChute, and I will be moving to Rockfin under BOBTV NYC. BOBTV NYC. So look for that. Now, let's get to it. Now, you remember yesterday, I told you that the white supremacist media have a habit of trotting out a black man to down the black man in question. So the white media person on the platform or in the round table or on the panel of discussion can get him a piece of the black guy too. Case in point, you remember I was talking to you about, Don Lemon.
Americans are not drawn to.
They're always going to have a black bootlick. And that bootlick, it doesn't matter whether they're ADOS, foundational black, immigrant black, it doesn't matter. Uncle Toms and Cons and Coons are all over the place. Now, Don Lemon is going to crap on Ice Cube, which usually gives an open door to Andrew Cuomo to do the same. And if there was a panel, there would be a panel to do the same that usually outnumber blacks to whites. It usually will be about 4 whites and 2 blacks. Occasionally, it'll be an all-black panel, and they love that.
Most African Americans are not drawn to or open to what this administration is doing or saying.
Now, understand this. This mission of a black agenda has nothing to do with who runs for office, but it has everything to do with you. It doesn't matter who's in office or who running for office. We're coming after you because you have to make this wrong right. This is a curse and a stain on this country that will not be removed, and this is almost like a certain level of a curse on this country that must be removed. And for Christians out there who are super Christians, like, you got Trump leaning on white evangelicals and things like that. Look, even God dealt with Pharaoh about not letting the children of Israel go without having some stuff. See, this isn't about forgiving a debt. This is about paying your debt. For you Christians, as the scripture said, the Bible said you should owe no man but to love them. So don't come talking about how you love me until you pay us our debt. And the same thing goes for any other black person that suffered through oppression here in this country. Now, I know we can always talk about what other blacks went through in other countries, and that's horrible. And they should be doing the same thing in their country, what we did here, what we're doing here. You should be pushing that, and we will support you in that. But we need a black agenda. And we need an exclusive black agenda. See, when the Chinese want something done, when the Asians want something done for their community, they are not going to Democrat or Republican. They're not showing any allegiance. That's why both parties always trying to give them anything they want. Both parties. Same thing with the LGBTQ community, even though most of them lean toward Democrats. But you've seen the Republicans do a big shift to cater toward that demographic. Same thing was going on with white women. Same thing was going on with evangelicals. Power without a demand concede nothing. And you must have power. So what they're doing right here is they're trying to discredit and get black people to follow Don Lee's and get white people to follow behind the black people to shame this and shut this down when you're not going to shame it or shut it down. Now let's go up a little more. And now we're going to see this guy. Sugar Bear himself, can't get enough of that Golden Crisp. He begins to go and do the same thing pretty much on the same network. Well, this is in SNBC, another left-leaning white supremacist media conglomerate. But they got a lot of black people on the show. Yeah, of course. They have to. It's the law, remember? Affirmative action is still alive and well. But they're going to make sure they're going to get somebody that's going to lick their boots. They're not going to get nobody like me that's going to challenge them. And they're not going to have somebody like me that's going to challenge them on air. That's why they don't like Nina Turner. But let's go.
Rapper and actor Ice Cube is facing backlash after one of Trump's senior advisors revealed he is working with the administration. Now, Ice Cube tried to clear the air, saying he reached out to both candidates about his plans for Black America, and the Trump campaign was just the first to respond.
The Trump campaign came to me and asked me to explain to them some of the contract with Black America. That's what I did. I'm not playing no more of these games, these political games. We're not part of a team. We have very broad problems, especially the wealth gap in this country when it comes to Black Americans. So I'm going to whoever's in power, and I'm going to speak to them about our problems. specifically. I'm not going there talking about minorities. I'm not going there talking about people of color or diversity or none of that stuff. I'm going there for Black Americans, the ones who are the descendants of slaves.
Now, that is a big problem with a lot of people. That you got a certain segment of Black society that's standing up for what's rightfully theirs, which is their birthright. We're not immigrants. We were driven here through chains. And again, nothing against immigrants. Don't take this wrong. People came here to this country for the American dream. But the American dream was built on the American nightmare of chattel slavery, antebellum slavery. And then when the opportunity came for open borders for people to come in, they built on top of that. But the wealth was already established for white English settlers and their descendants. And it's still going on strong today. But yet it was on our blood, sweat, tears, and destruction of our family and the life that we and our innovation and everything. In that destruction, they're still getting multiple benefits on that today, and we are getting multiple curses as a result of not getting anything for it. And yet we make stuff pop up from scratch, build towns, elaborate towns, beautiful towns, and prosper like I don't know what, and they come and crush that. Like I said, if your mother or your uncle or your brother get ran over by a Mack truck, you don't forgive that and let that go. Yeah, I don't hold you responsible, but the company that you represent in that truck, you and that company is going to face a lawsuit. I want recompense. I want recompense for my brother, because it wasn't his fault that you ran him over. You would be a fool to just let that slide when you have an opportunity to gain some kind of benefit from that death that devastated your entire family. That person that died would want you to benefit from that. Now, I'm going to keep going, but I'm taking my time on this because it's so important, because understand communities. Nobody gets mad at Asians when they step out and fight for something that they believe they should have in the United States. We don't say, what about us? Why are you forgetting us? Well, we need to get together, come together as one. No, they're going to do it. You can join them, but they set out on a mission. And they will always tell their politician that if you want us to support you, if you want our vote, if you want our backing, I need you to commit to some certain things for me and my community. Heck, a woman who planned on getting married, expect that. Bro, you ain't just going to come up here. I mean, I marry you, man. We need to have a roof over our head. We need to have we got to talk about this stuff before I get married. Or we may not get married. We got to bring this thing to the table and discuss it, because what's yours is about to be mine, and what mine is about to be yours. And in America, it's not that way between the wealth gap between whites and blacks, especially blacks who came from slavery. And fortunately, through studies, other blacks are doing a whole lot better than most blacks in the United States. I should have put up the chart. I'll probably put it up the next time. The chart showing the median wealth between certain segments of society. The Asians, the Latinos, the certain different types of blacks. For an example, the Nigerian blacks got way more money than American descendants of slaves black. And it's not the Nigerian black fault. Country made it easy for them to come here and to bring some of their wealth that they have, to bring some of their talents that they have and put them right to work right away. They get certain benefits when it comes to certain housing and education and things like that. And that's not just for them. That's for a whole lot of other people that's coming to this country. My uncle, who's Korean, say he get a 7-year tax break. They don't have to worry about paying the government a red dime for 7 years. And that extra money he used to purchase land, to buy a house. Ice Cube say, I'm not playing no political games. I'm fighting for my people. There's nothing wrong with that because every other demographic does that. The LGBTQ community say, I'm fighting for my people. The Asians say, I'm fighting for my people. The Latinos say, I'm fighting with my people. And they don't come to us for permission, black people for permission. And they shouldn't. It's not their, who are we to tell them? No, they don't. They just gonna do it. And if you want to join them, fine. Same thing with the LGBTQ community. If you want to join us, fine. But this is what we're going for. But as soon as black people, especially those who've been here since day one, family been here since day one, were brought here on chains, we try to do it, all of a sudden it's going to be an uproar. And Chris Cuomo shows that in this particular video.
Joining me now is the host and managing editor of the digital show, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland Martin. Roland, thank you for being here.
Now, remember I said, they will always trot out a black to crap on another black who's trying to do things for blacks. And here's one of their chief weapons, their number one stunner, the biggest boule in me, the media Uncle Tom of all Uncle Toms. Yeah, I said it. Roland Martin. And watch he work his Uncle Tom, Stephen from Django, magic.
Look, we played that clip with Chris Cuomo. I know that you also sat down with Ice Cube. Give me your reaction when you heard about his partnership with the Trump campaign and the backlash. Do you think it was justified?
Well, first of all, I sat down with Ice Cube before Chris Cuomo. I had Ice Cube on my show a month and a half ago. Then I had him on the show Thursday. We had a 40-minute conversation, and we went through all these various issues. First of all, so he made it clear he's not working with the campaign. He did connect with the Biden campaign. And what he said to me was that they said, look, we agree with 85% of what you're saying. We'll connect with you after the election. Why? The Biden-Harris folks are saying, we're not the ones who win power.
Now, let me stop there. That's not the point. The reason you need to talk with black people today is because we determine whether you get power or not. We have to stop waiting on somebody to get in power. They will continue to use this con game saying, look, we're not in position to do it, and we're not going to be in a position to do it until you put us in power. And then we put them in power. We're not in a position to do this because of that person. We're not in a position to do this because of the House. We're not in a position to do this because of Mitch McConnell. It's always an excuse for not doing what you need to do. That's why we have to put ourselves in a position, black people, specifically all blacks, no matter what nationality you originally came from, but especially people who came here since chattel slavery, that's been pushing the Democratic Party over since day one, since Dr. King. The whole point of us making demands before you get into office is because we are your most powerful, most potent energy source in winning an election. We carry weight. And it's time for us to show you how much weight we carry. See, the whole point of Ice Cube is that you're taking black people for granted. Trump said you're taking black people for granted, but he ain't doing nothing. He's not offering nothing, and neither are you. So we're going to have to put ourselves on the outside looking at both of you saying, look, if you're not going to do something, you ain't getting in power. He who does our will, he who answer our calling, he who promote our mission, he who push our platform will get our vote. Before, if you don't start talking about our issues before you vote, you ain't going to get a chance to talk about it after the election. Because even though you're in power, you have no reason to talk about us then. So what we have to do is we have to put you in a position that, look, I better make some concessions. I better give these people what they want, or they talking about a certain amount of us leaving. See, that's the position of strength in negotiation and in anything. You never give up your full power right away. You negotiate to the last day, to the last addendum, to the last amendment, to the last article. You negotiate all the way till you cannot negotiate no more. In other words, you don't start telling these people that I'm going to vote for you, black people. Even though you may vote for them, you don't let it be known you're going to vote for them, because you're just giving them your allegiance before you really need to give them your allegiance. I ain't telling nobody until I get in that voting booth. And once I get in that voting booth, I may not vote for neither one of y'all, but I will vote for House, Senate, community leader, community council, mayor, school board, sheriff department, different amendments, different articles, different proposition, different ballot initiatives. There's a whole lot you can vote for, not just somebody at the top of the ticket. But I am willing to vote for you at the top of the ticket, but this is what you got to do for us. Stop asking us to vote for you and support you, and you're not telling us what you're going to do for us. And Roland is of that mentality that go ahead and let them help them get in office, and then they're going to do it. That does not work. It never works. I stopped that. Name me one thing that Obama did while he was president for 8 years that he promised to do, that he implemented his first 4 years. And he had the House and Senate. The Democrats had full power, and they didn't even push Medicare for all. They're going to push Mitt Romney's health care plan, which we call Obamacare. They didn't push no-cost education. They didn't they didn't start a robust new housing development program.
And so Ice Cube, in my interview with him, he said that, the Trump was committed to $500 billion in their so-called platinum plan. Alex, that's total BS. I went through the entire plan. This is a 2-page plan. So let's understand. Platinum plan is 2 pages. Lift Every Voice Biden Black America plan is 22 pages.
Now, I'm going to start there. All he did was quoted what Donald Trump said. That doesn't mean he believed Donald Trump. But since you talked about the Platinum Plan and you're talking about the Lift Every Voice Black America plan, let's talk about that. Because even though Joe Biden's plan have more pages in it, a little more detail in it, he's not giving that much money to the black community either. Because he's masked that entire policy as a plan to lift up black Americans. But when you dig down deep into the plan, it's not a plan to deal with black Americans. It's a plan to do everything for everybody and leave the black Americans at the bottom of the totem pole. It's a plan to deal with the fund money for businesses and education and everything to white women, to white gay men, to people of color, Asians, Hindus, and everything like that. That is not a black exclusive plan. You want to use our votes to push something for everybody else, but you don't want to use our votes to be exclusive for the exclusive needs that we have in our own community. We have exclusive needs, and we're telling you about it, and we're telling you to address it, and in order for you to get our vote, you better address it, and you are still, again, looking out for everybody but us.
And so the reality is, and I said to Ice,
I read both of those plans, folks. Both of those plans, you can just go download it. You can download it off the Trump site, and you can download it off Biden's site. And the key word is people of color. It start off black on the forefront, and then once you go through each subtitles, and you go through the bullet point, it is everything else but black.
Cube, look, what they committed to, there's no commitment. There's nothing substantive behind it.
And the same thing with Joe Biden's plan. There's no substance behind it. Right now, he don't have the power to do anything, which is true, but there's no substance behind it. But you're going to sit here and try to make it seem like Biden's plan have the true substance and Trump plan don't have no substance. I'm here to tell both of y'all plan ain't got nothing in it.
And so I totally understand his point in terms of, yes, when you are in power, then African Americans still should be making demands of you. I've said that for years as well.
But African Americans should be making the demand before make a demand of you so you can get in power. African Americans need to realize how powerful they are and start moving in a position to start getting things done for their community, regardless of party. Now, we trust the Democrats to be more open to doing our will and our purpose and our mission than the Republicans. But in a bargaining deal, we go with who say they're going to do it, whether we believe it or not. We got to do something. The whole game is to apply pressure on both ends to get somebody to submit, to deal. That's the whole point.
Most African Americans living in the South are living under Republican legislatures. We understand that. The question is, can you trust the folks who are doing it? Let's just be real. The Trump folks, all they wanted was Ice Cube's stamp of approval of saying he actually contributed to their platinum plan.
And what, Joe Biden's camp don't want to have that too? You try to put us in a position that we can trust the Democrats. What have the Democrats done for black people lately for us to trust them? We know what the Republicans done for black people, not a doggone thing, so we sure don't trust them. But what make you think we automatically gonna trust you? That's that good cop, bad cop thing that white supremacy does between both parties to maintain power. I don't trust that bad cop, but I should trust you, officer, because you gave me some coffee with some caramel macchiato in it. Because you loosened my cup. Because you loosened my handcuffs. Because you gave me a cigarette. I should trust you to tell you everything. I don't trust none of you because at the end of the day, you're still trying to lock me up. And at the end of the day, white supremacy is still trying to keep black people as their pets. We're not your pets. If anything, if we do see ourselves as a pet, we're your we're your pit bull. But we're not your pets. We are your blood. We have been your blood. We have been your organs. We have been your heartbeat in this party for a long time. And if you want that heart to stay in you, you better do whatever you need to do to keep that heart healthy. We don't trust none of you. Now, there's a lot of people that trust the Democratic Party with no reasons to trust them. I just trust them because it's still the party of Obama. What Obama do for you? Can you name me 5 things Obama did for black people? Don't, because he already said, look here. I shared this with Joe, Sasha, Malia, and, Michelle, and I'm determined with everything into my being to be the president of all people. Heck, Kamala Harris said it in the interview with DeGrio. Oh, you think I'm just going to do something from black people? No. But yet she went bodyguard hard to get legislation done for her East Indian people. See, folks, this is what I'm saying. These politicians were positioned for certain aspects of society because those certain aspects of society place a demand and pressure on them. But soon as black people do it, they want to scream foul, I dare you. Just like Stephen when he saw Django on that horse. Who is this Negro on this nag? I ain't never seen no Negro on no horse. Well, we Negroes are getting on our horse. And you better set your eyes right. Because we're not going to be your play toy for too long. You will give or get out of our way.
They wanted the PR hit. They got the PR hit, and that's what they wanted.
So, Roland, when you point out with him, a 2-page plan versus a 22-page plan, what's his reaction to that?
Well, what he said, look, both don't go far enough, which is true. But here's what I also said to him when he was on me last month. I said, Q, and we text today, we were texting before he was on and after. I said, you also got to have an infrastructure in place to then carry out what it is you want. So here's the deal. Let's say Biden Harris wins. Okay, then we have to.
How do you know this man don't have an infrastructure? He have a detailed plan. He have a website to promote it, and he got people that he's working with. He just worked with ADOS California chapter to pass a bill working with Gavin Newsom as the governor. Now they're trying to get a model where they can do this through every state. And they usually say if New York goes, or whoever, California or New York, once they goes, the country goes. He's working with some people, Roland Martin. All you could do is crap on what this man is doing for black people when you ain't doing a doggone thing.
As A. Philip Randolph, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt told A. Philip Randolph, make me do it, Philip. We have to make them do it, which means you have to have an infrastructure in place of supporters. So one of the things that
he has supporters. Since you said make me do it, this is the whole point of a demand before the election. See, one of the weaknesses of the Bernie Sanders camp is Bernie Sanders not only had at least half of the Democrats on his side, but Bernie Sanders commanded a huge portion of non-voters and independents. And it's not Bernie Sanders, it was the policies that people want. $15 hour nationwide minimum wage. No cost education, not that $250,000 or more you have to pay. It was just no cost education to public college, period. Because your money may not be your mama's money. Healthcare, daycare, night care, you name it. Robust public housing program, making sure the vets have a place to stay. These are some of the things that Bernie Sanders had in his platform. And the moment Bernie Sanders trashed his platform and went in and supported Joe Biden, and Joe Biden told him, I'm not going to do any of your stuff in your platform, that's when the independents should be doing what the ADOS or the Foundational Black, or, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to Native blacks and blacks in general, coming together, letting the Democratic Party know that, hey, we are the only reason why you win. You talking about make me do it, Roland Martin? This is to make me do it. We are the only way you're going to win, Democrats. What I'm going to start doing, and that's what Ice Cube is doing, he's playing dealer, the gambler, the dealer, better than Donald Trump, who wrote The Art of the Deal, or Ghost wrote it. He's saying, look, I'm going to come up with something that's going to make you do right by black people. Here's the contract with Black America. It's not perfect. I'm working with other organizations to make it robust, but we're going to come together as a team to develop this document. And we're going to start going to every politician. And he who supports it will get all blacks on his side. May not be all. But we're going to get majority of blacks on that person's side, because that person is promising to do these things for the black community. We're going to tell the black community, this is what we're asking for. Are you in agreement? Do you want this? It's the same thing we do in union organizing with the workers. And if you want this, you got to deny that person any power if he's not going to do it. That is what you call making me do it. Because once they realize, if you realize that a lot of people are telling you you're not getting my vote until you get this done, then you're going to be made to get it done.
I said to him, I brought on Alicia Garza with Black Futures Lab, where they put together a black census project where they surveyed 30,000 African Americans.
Now, the lady that he's talking about, and I was going to go in the video, she is one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, the organization. Now, I was telling a friend of mine, there's a difference between Black Lives Matter, the organization, and Black Lives Matter, the mantra, the movement. They're not the same. They're trying to capitalize off the movement, and oftentimes can be a detriment to the movement because they're allowing corporate dollars and politicians to take a claim in that. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot concede You cannot grab power without a demand. And the moment you started flirting around with the people you're supposed to be demanding from, no, this is a demand. This is a takeover. This is snatching. Can't do that with somebody you're in the bed with. You taking their money and you smoozing with them and going to these parties on behalf of black. No. So I told my friend of mine who I love so much, look, ADOS is just a segment of society. Most ADOS are not with ADOS 101, but they do believe in some of the principles of ADOS 101, but they not believe all of it. We're going to make you Roland, and there's nothing you're going to do about it.
Of what they wanted. I said, Cube, you should be partnering with her, partnering with Tamika Mallory.
Why you want to partner with people who getting donation from the very people who are trying to stop our movement, who's trying to crush blacks from demanding their agenda, who don't want blacks to have an agenda, who don't want blacks to have equality and wealth? You actually think these major corporations that are funding Black Lives Matter wants black lives to have black people to have the same wealth as they have? You got to be kidding. The reason they got their hands in it is because they can begin to control it. And look, Ice Cube is already working with some great people. You don't tell him who he needs to work with. Now, he's open to work with anybody that's going to have black people as number one on their mission in mind. But they have to prove that. And one of the ways they have to prove it is that they have to fully be funded by the grassroots, not by corporations, and don't have politician fingers in the coffee jar, cookie jar.
Until Freedom, New York Justice League, TEFPO, Million Hoodies March. There are a number of entities out here that have infrastructure, policy people, lobbyists to get it. So again, Ice Cube alone as a rapper actor making demands will not achieve it unless you have infrastructure.
So here's the point, Roland Bowling Ball Martin. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what this man have. Have you hung around this guy to see what he have? You're assuming that he don't have structure. You're assuming that he don't have power. This is the man who started his own basketball league. This is a man who started his own movie or company and got people to rally behind his films. You don't think he know how to build an infrastructure? He can build an infrastructure 10 times more than you and have done it 10 times more than you. Look at that look on his face. His whole point is right now we don't want nothing to get in the way that's going to cause 1, 2, 3 blacks to not vote for Biden. This ain't about Biden and this ain't about Trump. This is about black people getting their needs met. And he who concedes to that need should get the vote. Should. Now, I don't trust none of them to do it. But like you said, Roland, you got to make them do it.
To push the process through.
Absolutely. You got to roll up your sleeves and actually get the work done. So,
and lady, he is. So shut up.
look, he said that he started all this. He wanted to see a greater emphasis on black Americans, not just on, people of color or minorities.
Right.
How about either campaign? Do you think either one has spent enough time speaking directly to black voters and addressing their concerns?
Now, watch he get the dumping on Trump, which Trump should be dumped on, but he's going to kiss Joe Biden's behind to the 10th degree.
Well, first of all, the Trump campaign ain't wasting time with black people.
What I told you. I told you. He's just a suck up. He's just a suck up. How do you know Trump is not wasting time with black people? Now, me, I don't know. But what make you think I believe Joe Biden is wasting time with black people? Because he got a whole lot of black support? Them people only supporting him because they scared of Trump. And another reason why they support him because Obama is with him. Hell, some of them think Obama actually going to be sitting in the White House advising Joe on every detail. No. Once Joe get his power, you will see another Joe. Now, this older version Joe is a little bit tame, boy. I'm telling you, but that Joe Biden back in the 90s, that was Trump on crack. Yeah, go back and look at the videos of him on the Senate floor talking about all these bills and legislation he's gonna pass to press down black people. To lock him up, throw away the key, because he don't want nobody to hurt his mama. He was Trump. Now, mind you, things happen and people change. But when somebody's doubled down on the horrible policies that they have pushed, it proves to me that you have not changed. And it lets me know that you're going to be even, you're going to do what you did in the 90s, but 100 times worse. And you're going to have the support of the House and Senate because most Republicans are buddies with Joe and most Democrats are buddies with Joe. And when you got a unified Capitol Hill running behind a president, it may look like it's going to be a good thing for you, but oftentimes it can be downright dangerous and downright authoritarian and downright fascist. And yes, Trump is a fascist, but Trump is a fascist that don't know what he's doing. He wish he can have that pull with Republican Democrats like Joe Biden. When Joe Biden get in office, those Republicans are going to be relieved that Donald Trump is gone. They're going to turn and talk about him like a dog because now they don't need his base no more. They're going to embrace Joe Biden. The Democrats are going to embrace Joe Biden, and Joe Biden going to have untold power. And when you get untold power, oftentimes you're not going to do right by the American people. Joe Biden has very rarely, if not any time, done right by the American people. And if you know of some things that he's done right by the American people, put it down in the chat. I'm just trying to be truthful.
I mean, when you're putting out a minstrel show like Diamond and Silk and you putting out clueless folks.
Bro, you're the biggest minstrel show on the face of this planet. Diamond and Silk is a fool clown show, but you the biggest. Because you get your rocks off down talking any progress that may not include you. Or that may mess up your apple cart of being a media man for the Democratic Party, because that is what you're longing for. You're longing to be the media guy. You would love to be the media press person for Kamala Harris.
Like Candace Owens and even that fool down in Georgia, Representative Vernon Jones, you're not serious about it. They won't come talk to black people. Donald Trump has not spoken to any major black organization. He only talked to African Americans who support him. He is not serious. The White
My question is, what black organization has opened their doors to Trump? The Democratic Party has painted Trump so horrible, and he is. But the Democratic Party don't want to have no dealings with Trump. Black people in general don't want to have no dealing with Trump. Number one, because of him beating Hillary Clinton, and number two, some of his rhetoric. And I get that. But you still got to be open. Like I talked today on my my love channel, you got to be open. You got to leave yourself wide open to reach out to people, even though they don't deserve it. And people are mad at Ice Cube because he said, look, I ain't got time for these games. I'm not on nobody's team but black. And blacks, if you think Democrats on your team, you're fool to think that. If you think Republicans on your team, you're fool to think that. You are your own. You need to become your own team. And force both of them hand.
House made it perfectly clear. Their only goal is to attract 20% of black men. That's why they quickly want to meet with Ice Cube.
Of course. If the Democratic Party got majority of the blacks just by happenstance, because it's a long time tradition, blacks love to give their support up without asking for anything in exchange. That is changing, and it's going to change quick, fast, in a hurry. And there's nothing nobody going to be able to do that to change it. Stop it. Every politician wants the black vote. So why are you making a mockery out of Trump because he believes he can get 20% of the black vote? I don't believe he can get it. I think he's talking out of crack of his behind. But just because people who are saying, look, no black agenda, no vote, don't try to make this about Trump. This is still about black people who want a demand for their vote. which they should always do. Asians do it, Latinos do it. What's wrong with blacks doing it?
That's why they're talking to Kanye West. That's why they're talking to other people. Now, the Biden campaign, they've had more outreach towards African Americans, but I've made it clear to them, you got to be doing more as well. You're looking at.
Folks, can you tell me some of the outreach that the Biden campaign has done for African Americans or Black Americans? Can you tell me any? Can you put it down? I'm not talking about what church he went to on the campaign trail. What are some of the outreaches that Biden has touted for blacks only? Like I said, sometimes you got to get specific because other nationalities do when it comes to the needs of their particular community, which is always a good thing. It's not separatism. You're supposed to look out for your community. You're supposed to look out for home first, and together everybody else second. You as a mother and father, you'll be a horrible father to be looking out for everybody's kids but yours. No, I'm gonna take care of my home first. Then I'll take care of everybody else. That's what this is all about.
And polling data showing the black male support that Trump is getting and certain candidates are getting in Michigan and North Carolina, you got to do more. I've said, look, black people, Democrats cannot win without black people. So what you must do is you must court them. You must drive money to black media outlets. You must.
He's talking about that black media outlet. And he just signaled that he's kissing their behind so he can get some of that Democratic black money. Black media, you do not need money from politicians. You do not need money from politicians. Things have changed. You don't have to be on a major network right now. All the major networks are going to social media. Social media is the king of driving media right now. And it don't cost you a lot of money unless you want to just go big time. And you can get that from the grassroots. You don't have to get it from a party. Now, he's spouting all these statistics. People, I can spout statistics and you can believe that. But I don't want nobody to believe nothing I say. I say, go check it. Go look at this policy. Go look at this law. Go check it for yourself. Me telling you about it, that don't mean you're going to believe it. Go look at it yourself. He wants to use the Democratic Party to give him money. So you're no different from Ice Cube. Where's your infrastructure to get that done, Roland Martin? Kissing they behind till they give it to you? You're no different from Ice Cube. You're no different from the black media, the new black media. We go to the people to get it. Ice Cube is going to the people to make the demand. He's not trying, he's not kissing the behind of these politicians. It's either you do or you're not getting in office. Simple.
Approach them to do more, and that's how you actually do it. But you got to push them to do it.
But let me ask you, based on everything you're saying, why is it that the Trump campaign is doubling its support with black men over black women? And we should note that typically black women are the...
Now, Trump campaign, like any campaign, is always going to target every demographic. Because one vote from each one of them still counts as a vote. The Democratic Party and the Democratic media is trying to make it seem like he's only going after the black men, and they're going to use an excuse to try to shame black men because that's what they like to do. Because black women, they always talk about black women are the backbone of the party, and black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. Like I said, it wasn't for black women, they wouldn't win, but they got to understand black men are the backbone of this party too. We black men do more for this party than you white people. There's nothing against you white people. I'm just letting you know, are you voting in Democrats in the high 90s? Like black women and black men? Are you in the high 90s? No. The reason we got Trump today is because a lot of white women, white men, some Latinos, gave him the support. Here you are, you're going to see them magically try to make black men the enemy.
Ones who will actually go to the polls, they'll stand in line. Not the black men don't, but women do it in a far greater number. So how is it that Trump's...
It's not that far greater numbers. We vote about 93, women vote about 96. We vote.
Bringing up the black male vote.
Because it's not just Donald Trump. In 2012, there was a 9-point gap between black men and black women for Obama Romney. There was a 13-point gap between black men and black women for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And so the Trump people think they can push it to 20%. This is a Democratic Party issue because you have a lot of black men. You have black men out there. When I say a lot, I'm talking about the percentages here because the vast majority of black men are supportive of these policies. But these are black men who are
What policies?
disaffected. These are black men who say they believe that Democrats are too supportive of immigration efforts. Look, when Donald Trump talks about building the wall, this 15 to 20% of black men.
See, so they're trying to label the black people who will go to Donald Trump and may leave the party, go for Donald Trump. He's trying to label black men. He's letting the white media shame black men and label black men, and you ought not let him do that because this is not why a lot of black men and even some women, he's not talking about the fact that there's a lot of women fed up with the Democratic Party also. There's a lot of women that's fed up with both parties, just like there's a lot of men that's fed up with both parties, but they want to try to label them to say, you guys are fine. It's this, these people are doing this because this, and this. And it's none of these things. But let's listen to him label us again.
These policies. But these are black men who are disaffected.
Disaffected. It's not disaffected. We just ain't going to play the con games no more. We realize the Democratic Party keep touting us out and pimping us out for a vote, but don't want to do nothing for us. And if you want to call that disinfected, then call me Clorox.
These are black men who say they believe that Democrats are too supportive of immigration efforts. Look, when Donald Trump talks about building the wall, this 50.
I don't hear that many black men talking about Democratic is supportive of immigration effort. Roland Martin, you're an immigrant. We're not. We have. See, what you're trying to do is you're trying to plant a dissension between black men and immigrants, and it's not that way. You're trying to create enemies to the black male, and I don't appreciate that, bruh. And the next time I see you in New York, I'm gonna be getting in your face, bruh. Black men are not complaining about immigrants. We fought for immigrants alongside with our black women. American blacks fought together for the immigration policy to be changed by Lyndon B. Johnson. That was one of JFK's dream, and thanks to Johnson and Robert Kennedy, at that time Senator Kennedy, we helped push that policy. So we're not upset with the immigration issue. Leave that to the white Republicans, or leave that to the white Democrats who don't like immigration either. Because they're really Republicans. They really are Republicans acting like Democrats. Don't blame this on blacks.
20% of black men that appeals to them. Also, when he's talking about economic policies. And so I said to Democrats back in 2012, you got a problem. You saw it in 2016. Tom Perez is aware of the problem as well.
Don't even mention that joke.
But what they have to do is they have to be serious about saying, wait a minute, we've got to compete after every vote. And this is very simple. If Democrats keep going after disaffected white women who vote for Republicans, well, you better go after disaffected.
Now he's talking about who's really causing Trump to win. He's going to dump on black, but he really knows where the blame is.
Black men as well, which means listening to them. Terrence Woodbury is a great pollster who's been doing focus groups on this. Cornell Belcher, another African-American pollster who's been doing this. Ron Lester as well. I say to the Democratic Party, listen to your black pollsters, your black political consultants, your African.
Wrong advice, Roland Martin. Don't ever listen to your pollsters, Democrat. Get your butt out there and listen to the people. Hear from the people their needs and cater toward their needs and fix their needs, and you're going to get stronger black support. To not do it means that you don't care, which means they have every reason to kick you to the curb. Now, I'm not saying kick them to the curb and come to the Republicans because they're not going to do nothing, but you got to build a consensus yourself that shows your strength to both, that, look, we got the power to determine which way this election going to go. Who's going to do our bidding? This is what we want. This is what we expect. We expect the deal now. Let's rock and roll. He who signs on the paper, we're going to vote for.
Americans who understand these issues, and the part of the problem is that too many campaigns, including Democrats, have white advisors running campaigns who are not empowering and listening to African American political experts. That's where you start.
No. Where you need to start and stop at is getting out there with the people and listening to the people. You don't need to be listening to these high-paid consultants, black, white, I don't give a crap what color they are. You don't need to listen to these consultants and these posters. You need to get your butt out there to the grassroots and listen to the people. Go to the barbershop, go to the basketball court, go to the football game, go wherever you need to go. Go to the church, go to the Muslim hall, go wherever you need to go and listen to the needs of black people so you can really feel the needs of black people. These posters not going to get out of here. Let me calm down.
Give me a quick assessment on what you were talking about in your home state of Texas with the record number of early votes. I mean, it really got kind of emotional for you, right? As a matter of fact, let's show the viewers your Instagram page. Here it is, everyone.
So they wants to show how black people are going out in huge numbers according to the image they trying to paint, getting this thing in for Joe. And it may be for Joe, maybe for Trump. My point is, one of them gonna win. My main thing is, if you're not gonna do something for the people, you shouldn't be in that office. Tired of these older white men using colored people, especially black people, to try to stay in power. I'm tired of them trying to grab and let's grab this African American and bring them to my side to make it seem like they got your ear. To me, that's worse. To go grab a black person to make it seem like you're on our side, bro. Just because you got a black person close to you running things with you doesn't mean you're on our side. Calvin Candy had Stephen. Stephen ran the blacks and the whites on the plantation, but he was a brutal house Negro. So just because they're standing by your side, that don't mean they're on the side of the grassroots. The grassroots is telling you change is here. Take us for a joke. Take us for a joke and assume that we're going to vote for you anyway. Your biggest mistake is to assume that you own black people. Your biggest mistake is assume that blacks are aligned to you and is going to show you allegiance. Who the heck are you to think black people should be aligned or should show allegiance to you? And what lame reason you got? Trump, you have no reason to assume black people are going to align with you. And Joe Biden should never, ever assume black people are going to align with him, especially after black people find out what he did to them and his vice president did to them under the name of law and order. You better treat every vote precious and you better earn every vote. To not do so is a setup for failure. All you have to do is ask Hillary Clinton.
I want y'all to see this. This is Friendship Way Baptist Church. Super voting site in Dallas. Look at this, y'all. Y'all, massive line. Polls only been open 27 hours, 27 minutes. Look at these cars.
Look at you. You were crying there, my friend. What did that mean for you?
Well, when I go vote, I listen to freedom songs. I listen to Woke Up This Morning by John Legend, Glory by Common and John Legend. That was a Trey Songz song called 2020 Riots, How Many Times? And so it's a powerful song. And it all sort of, and look, it hit me. And